Happy championship week, everybody. This is NASCAR Inside the Playoffs. I'm Shannon Spake. We have a huge show today. All four championship contenders are going to be right here in studio, so let's get to it. Here are the headlines. After a race for the ages, Ryan Blaney will head to Phoenix, looking to defend his title after a walk-off win Sunday at Martinsville. Can he repeat? We're going to ask him that question. Plus, the last lap at the paperclip was not short of drama, resulting in a tie in the points. But Christopher Bell found himself on the outside looking in after NASCAR made a ruling. We're going to discuss that. And after 10 months of racing, the championship field is set. Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, and William Byron, they all have a shot at the title. And they all join us next on NASCAR Inside the Playoffs. And then there were four, or maybe just three, in the studio. After months of short tracks, road courses, close finishes, and blowouts, we now know which four drivers will be competing for the 2024 Cup Series champion. All four of them will be here today. I'm Shannon Spake, Daytona 500 winning crew chief Steve Letarte, and NASCAR insider Mamba Smith. Hello. He's rocking the cool suit. Just the three of us here today. For now, we knew that it was going to be crazy in Martinsville, and that it really lived up to its reputation.
It did. There was a lot of conversation about the previous Martinsville races not being the short track beating and banging, pushing and shoving that we were looking for. But I was enthralled. I thought it was an amazing race, start to finish, and the playoff drivers stepped up.
They did, and if it wasn't for Bristol having the tire issues we had at the beginning of the year, we wouldn't have done what we did with the tire situation at Richmond that ultimately got us here, and a great tire put up great racing.
We're going to have so much fun today talking to all the Championship 4 drivers, almost as much fun as we had in Martinsville. We didn't know until well after the race which four had locked into the Championship 4. Here's a look back.
It all comes down to this. The six not locked in are the six best drivers at Martinsville. Denny Hamlin trying to win from the back.
Christopher Bell is around.
He has been struggling with his race car.
There are no teammates at Hendrick Motorsport today when there's three drivers going for 2 spots.
Elliott hangs on to win stage 1.
Anything but smooth for the 9. Going to lose a ton of spots on Pit Road.
Here comes Ryan Blaney.
They lean on each other, racing for the lead. Green and white checkered flag flying. Blaney in second.
Slow stop for the 12. Close call. 20 of Bell. Slow pit stop.
They didn't have a nut on the wheel.
No! Elliott gets into the back of Buescher. Almost a disaster. Kyle Larson nearly hits the back of Eric Jones. The gloves are off here in Martinsville. 3 champions at the front. Here's Elliott looking low on Larson.
Oh, and he gets into him.
Elliott hits his teammate.
To the inside of Larson for the lead in 1.
The crowd is on its feet, and here comes Ryan Blaney in the back of Larson.
Blaney tries to muscle his way underneath, and he does it.
And it's Chase Elliott that needs to run for his life.
He's running them down.
He's got a hole shot. He's got a wheel to the inside. Blaney is going to take the lead.
Fans at Martinsville are losing their minds. Byron is in the championship 4 by 1 point.
Blaney had one scenario to defend his title, and he's going to pull it off, and is going to Phoenix.
Christopher Bell tried the Ross Chastain move and put the car on the wall. Bell and Byron are tied right now. The safety violation for riding the wall will negate Christopher Bell. William Byron will be the 4th driver to race for the championship in 2024.
It was so wild, those closing laps, because any one of those drivers could have won and advanced, and we did not know which was going to. Now we do. Joey Logano looking for title number 3. Tyler Reddick in his first Championship 4 appearance, 2-time Xfinity Series champion. Ryan Blaney looking for back-to-back titles, and William Byron looking for his first championship. He, of course, kicked off the season with a win in the Daytona 500. Okay, before we discuss the drivers that did advance, we kind of got to rewind a little bit, and we got to talk about the move by Christopher Bell. Because, as you saw, when the checkered flag originally was flown, it was Christopher Bell that was actually advancing. But NASCAR said, wait, we got to look at this, because the move that he made on the racetrack, NASCAR deemed that it was not a legal race move, and therefore penalized him and then William Byron gets in. And this is I'm getting this all right?
That's exactly.
Yes, okay.
There's a lot, but that's exactly how it went down. And there was a lot of controversy and a lot of questions about, was it a wall ride, was it not? So right here, you see Christopher Bell getting into turn 3, passing the 23 and racing with the 16.
That's who he had to pass for position, correct.
Right here, he's in the middle of 3 and 4, and you can see he never comes off the wall and rides it all the way around. Now, for Christopher, as a driver, I'm just trying to get to that start-finish line, doing whatever I got to do to get there. But we deemed it non-acceptable after the Hail Melon with Ross Chastain a few years back, and everyone agreed that we weren't doing this anymore. It was a tough call, an unfortunate call, but a call that had to be made.
A tough call, but the right call. You mentioned the Hail Melon. So to understand where we are, I think we need to look back. So a few years ago at Martinsville, coming to the checkered flag, we saw Ross Chastain pull a move that looked like it was out of a video game. It didn't look real. He went around the wall. This is not sped up, folks. This is the original video. Look at this right here. So while that was legal at the time, and it was crazy, and it should be celebrated, it put the driver at undue risk. It really questioned the track facility. There are gates on the walls for many reasons. The industry, NASCAR drivers, everyone agreed we need to protect us from us. We're going to make it illegal. So then the question is, no different than a football game. Are you in bounds or are you out of bounds? I don't think Christopher Bell meant to be out of bounds, but the simple fact is he was. NASCAR made the right call. It took 27 minutes.
Is that how long it took?
27 minutes of filling time on television.
Imagine being William Byron.
But in the end, look, there are rules for a reason. NASCAR has to follow up.
What do you think they looked at to determine whether that was?
Well, I think they looked at the video, but they also can look at what he's physically doing. They have sensors to say if he's on the gas, on the brake, on the steering wheel. They look at his lap time. And what I love is I'm thankful it took 27 minutes. We're at the point in the season where you have to be right. There was no reason to rush. So as frustrating as it was, I think NASCAR got the call correct.
Okay, so while this was going on after the race, right before the end of the race towards the closing laps, there was also some questions about whether manufacturers were helping other manufacturers maintain position, not get passed on the racetrack. And so that was specifically with the Toyota 2311 of Bubba Wallace and a couple of Chevys kind of blocking what it looked like for William Byron. NASCAR spoke today, and this is what they said. There's suspensions coming down for that event. So we've got number 1, 3, those are Chevys, and the 23 of Bubba Wallace. You have 3 people that are experiencing suspensions, fines, and driver owner points. What do you think about this?
So I think the penalty was needed. I question if it's really enough. Basically, you have an executive and then the crew chief and then the spotter, the 3 people, 2 people on the radio probably, and an executive, a fine, and the points. So basically what happened is that, and NASCAR alluded to this Sunday night, they said we're going to go back and look at this because it failed the eye test.
Okay.
We had a couple Chevys out there riding around behind William Byron. It looked like
a motorcade.
It looked like a motorcade. And the 23 of Bubba Wallace, magically just is really slow the last few laps, and we had the 20 needing that spot. The problem with this is the integrity of any sport should be the most important thing, whatever the score is, whatever the example is. And there was just enough evidence here that these teams were purely performing only to help the others. Mom, it becomes more complicated because in NASCAR, Rick Hendrick owns 4 cars. Roger Penske owns 3 cars. So we have seen teammates assist other teammates. I think that is fair competition. This is people that are just like manufacturers, I think, manipulating the outcome of the race. The fan deserves more. And from the TV booth, it failed the eye test. It didn't take a whole lot of digging to realize something was up.
One, I'm surprised that the 6, who was a forward of Brad Keselowski, didn't just ship him.
Because he was behind that blockade.
He was the next one that wasn't a part of that blockade family that he could have done something. I was really surprised he didn't. But let's not act like these things don't happen and haven't happened throughout the history of racing, whether it's a water bottle that you've thrown out the window to try and get a caution, or, even to the point at super speedways where people maybe will lift instead of pushing somebody across the line. We see these things, but those are really kind of hard to call. Like, you're getting really close there on the line. This was a little bit more egregious, and plus all the audio, that's where it really came into it for me, and I think for everybody else. All the audio, the chatter about what was going right or what we were going to do really let the cards out.
Let's see, here's my question, right? And I understand teammates helping teammates. Manufacturers are essentially teammates as well. This has happened forever. I mean, we've talked about this going to Talladega and Daytona. We're going to have these discussions, because don't tell me guys don't block for their teammates in order to, and that's kind of what we saw.
So this is a watershed moment. I believe that the sport are the drivers on track performing to whatever they see fit. Most of the time is to try to win the race. Maybe that involves a block. Maybe that is to push a teammate. In these situations, there's evidence that they're being instructed on the radio of the outcome they're trying to change. Here's the points total. This guy can't pass. This guy needs you to pass. That is an orchestrated attempt to change the results. If those drivers on their own said, you know what, Williams having a bad day, I'm not going to pass him because he cut me a break 3 weeks ago, like that's sports in general. That happens anytime there's combat. But when you start having, that's why we saw the penalty involves executives and crew chiefs and spotters, as there's radio communication setting the stage. Look, this is a watershed moment. I believe something had to be done in what happened to Martinsville heading to where we're going to crown a champion. I also feel like the conversation's not over. I don't think these penalties are enough. I don't think that's going to be enough to change. When I say enough, I don't think that's going to end the conversation. I don't think these penalties will end this conversation, much like we do all the time. There'll be conversation all winter. It wouldn't shock me if rules are changed.
Make no mistake about it. This will change things going forward, and the focus will change.
And potentially going forward to this weekend at Phoenix. The 4 guys who will are the guys above that line. Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, William Byron. We just discussed how William Byron got in and Christopher Bell did not. And the guys below, all of these wins, championships, Daytona 500 wins, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and Steve, that's something you want to talk about, because before we get to the great walk-off win by Ryan Blaney, any one of these drivers could have won that race in advance.
We were blessed with a magical, group of 8. And then we went to Martinsville in the last 30 laps. We had Kyle Larson leading the race. We had Chase Elliott leading the race. And when they have Ryan Blaney, it's a shame we're talking about all this other stuff.
I know.
Because we should be celebrating Ryan Blaney. I know you were. I don't have to ask if you were celebrating Ryan Blaney, but he deserved it. That drive was championship level.
Awesome.
Yeah. It was. Who said that was going to happen? Real quick.
Yeah, listen, if you pick him every week, you're bound to be right.
Hey, but I picked him when it mattered most.
Fair.
Hey, listen, I think that was one of Ryan's best races. I think it was one of the most important races for his legacy, coming off of losing at Homestead, making a decision that he thought was going to win in the race. It didn't, and maybe blowing up his whole championship hopes. Comes back, they were focused, they went out and got done what they needed to. That last 30-lap run, we had, to your point, we had William Byron, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney. That's the future of the sport. That's exactly what you want. That's what I want to see up front.
You said Miami was the race that you were waiting for, with all of those championship contenders up front, and Martinsville was just 2.0. And
Blow it out of water.
There you go. We got a packed show today, as promised. We have all 4 of the championship contenders here in studio. We're going to be spending time with each and every one of them, seeing Mamba's handshake with them, maybe. Tyler Reddick is up next.
You see that mustache?
15 laps to go. Tyler Reddick will give up the race lead. We stay under the green flag.
Billy Scott proved he was willing to gamble.
But it may not pay off this time.
Racing for the lead. They touch, and Brown goes Larson. Can he catch it? He cannot.
It's probably best case here. 7 laps, you got it, no prisoners.
Hamlin shoves Tyler Reddick to the lead. Blaney has to go to the bottom to play defense.
Here comes Hamlin on his own driver. Hamlin basically scraping the right side of his race car, keeping the lead. Here comes Ryan Blaney. They're side by side. Ryan Blaney takes the lead from Hamlin. 1 lap to go. Now Reddick on the low side. Reddick is on Ryan Blaney's bumper.
Go up outside here, outside.
What a move off 4.
Tyler Reddick just drives all the way around Ryan Blaney.
Hell yeah, let's go to Phoenix, boys! Oh yeah! Yeah, we're in it! Sorry, I don't know.
Tyler Reddick wins in the most incredible way.
Michael Jordan going to the championship for.
Little kid drove his ass off. I'm proud of him.
Obviously.
And on that note, we say hello to the driver who had everybody talking with that move in Miami, Tyler Reddick, in the house.
Yes,
Congratulations on the win on Championship 4. I had all these questions ready for you, and when I saw that highlight and I saw Michael Jordan sitting on that wall during the pit stop, I thought, do you see him? Can you see him out that visor just sitting there watching everything go down?
I think in that moment, I'm more kind of locked in on the pit stop itself. You kind of have like a clock in your head of how long the pit stop should take. They're running around from the right side to the left. And once they get to the left side, you're pretty much just locking back in and getting ready for the jack drop.
So no.
So that's a no, yeah.
Do you think Michael likes Bo more than you? Because every time I see him with Bo, they are like this, and you're like, he likes you obviously, but yeah, I think Bo's got you beat.
I think so. Yeah, they get more times to hang out when I'm in the car, but yeah, I mean, those moments shared are really, really cool as well.
So cute.
Well, you mentioned moments. I want to talk about the move. I think it's the move of the year, the pass of Blaney. People want to put it on Blaney for not running the top. I take the opposite approach. I think it was just an amazing move by you. So the question I have is, down the backstretch, were you thinking what I'm going to do, or is it just reaction when you get there?
Yeah, I think for me in that moment, with what I had on tires, I was just going to see what Blaney did and then try to figure out a way around him. And I mean, his move was to kind of protect against the dive bomb into the corner into 3 and 4, and it just left enough room on the outside. And at that point, I just drove in until I knew I was going to be side by side with him to where he couldn't shut the door on me. And so
he's
it all
getting so
happened
serious.
so
Do you
fast.
see how serious he's getting when he's talking about the move?
I tell you what this
I can
is.
see like the expression on your face.
Come on, it's media day. So on a serious note, first trip, you've done it in Xfinity, back-to-back. You've been here, you've done this on the Saturday series for the viewers at home. Xfinity runs on Saturday. Now you're at Cup, the big series. You're here, championship day, doing all the media. Is it nerve-wracking? Is it relief? Like, what is the approach now that the week is here?
Yeah, I'd say, since we left Homestead, I've felt very calm and just thinking ahead of what's to come for us. But yeah, whether it was yesterday or even more so today, just kind of know what I need to do. We have a schedule that we got to keep to. There's a few extra things that need to be done and go do, but no sense of being behind, no sense of real urgency, just really feeling ready. Obviously, there's more things. We have time to go run the simulator before we finally head out to Phoenix, so there's some more things to do. But in this moment, just feeling really at ease with where we're at and just ready to go.
I feel like the same move you did at Homestead is the same move from Vegas, and we talked about it on the show. It's the same thought process. It's the same aggression. If you aren't that guy in Vegas, do you feel like you're also not that guy at Homestead? Meaning, like, you got to be consistent to who you are in your driving style to get that success.
Yeah, some of us really want to know because somebody maybe pointed out that was important. So this answer is important for some of us.
Well, I think at a place like Phoenix, the 1.5 miles are all about momentum, and Phoenix kind of can lend itself to that. But with the different style of track, it's you're taking a little bit more risk off of turn 2 than I feel like you probably do off of turn 4 at Vegas or off of into turn 3 at Homestead. So it is a little bit different, but I think what's important to remain is just that aggression, right? Like you need to, if you're close enough to pass somebody or get within range of passing somebody, don't just settle. You got to be aggressive. You got to be willing to run a different line than you have been, and just battle for the position.
We talk about this being your first championship but if you look at where you've been and what you've done, let's take a look at this. 5th full Cup season, 8 Cup Series wins, 4th championship appearance, 2-time Xfinity Series champ, and by the way, that was with 2 different race teams, so just kind of the chemistry and having to build that quickly. You know a thing or a bunch of things about being in these pressure situations and having to perform. When you kind of look back on your career, do you feel like everything has been building to get you to this point and you are ready to go in there and win a championship?
Oh, honestly, saying it like that makes it seem that way, right? But as a driver, you kind of take it race to race and keep trying to improve little bit where you can each and every weekend. But yeah, when you look at the whole thing, right? My last 2 appearances in a championship 4 were in Xfinity, and what we had to do, where my mindset was going into those. I feel in a similar place. I feel to be in a good place right now, getting ready for that race. But yeah, I mean, when you look at how we've kind of went through the year, the run that we went on in the middle of the summer, and then all the crazy, difficult things that we had to overcome.
Getting sick, being upside down, all the stuff, yeah.
There's a number of things that have happened to us that could have taken us out of the playoffs entirely, that could have kept us from winning the regular season championship, and we fight through each and every single one of them.
So am I making this up, or has this team embodied the owner's kind of mantra? Because I feel like this is a big moments team, whether it's the sickness or the upside down bouncing back to win at Miami, and then you have the most famous athlete in the world as your owner who's known for those big moments. So, like, has the 45 kind of embodied the MJ feel?
I feel like, yeah, I mean, it's a thing where, we just don't count ourselves out. Again, the adversity we face, especially in the playoffs, has been very doom and gloom at times, right? Like at the Roval, I mean, seconds off the pace and finding a way to get back into the hunt get back to the tail end of the lead lap and fight to advance. It just seems like we have a really good mindset right now. When things don't go our way, we don't self-destruct. We double down. We reset and we focus on what we can control that's ahead.
You have the opportunity to give Michael Jordan something that he doesn't have, which is very, very cool. No pressure there. Let's get a little trivia. We'll get a little trivia
No pressure,
going.
Tyler.
We'll get a little.
We'll leave the pep talks to MJ
Listen, he's
after
good.
that one.
He's so focused and dialed in. All right, so Michael versus Denny. Let's find out which owner you know better.
Oh.
Who takes his shoe collection more seriously? Oh boy.
Man,
Oh, boy.
I don't know about.
Who has more shoes?
I know about Denny. I don't know about Michael.
Right.
Technically, Michael has them all.
That's
'cause
true.
They're all his.
That's
I don't know.
true.
Denny's got so many boxes in his house.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Michael does too.
Yeah.
But I only know Denny's house.
Who throws a better party?
Ooh.
This
I
guy,
think
he
Michael-
actually
yeah, I
drives
gotta
for the
give that
best
to
team
Michael.
out there. Michael?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the line is good, I'm sure. I'm sure. Who gives the best advice? Wow.
Wow, really?
This
Is that close?
Oh, you think you're going to offend somebody? No,
It's like
I
picking
wouldn't.
between parents.
I know.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, the advice from both is so critical.
Is it very
so
different?
Crucial.
Like Denny being a driver and Michael being a sports guy? Is it different style?
Yes, absolutely. It's hard to say. It's a tough one.
Who would you let select the wine at dinner?
MJ for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
that-
That's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, it has to
It
be.
has to be.
Has to be.
Well, now that the serious questions are out of the way,
Yeah.
good luck this weekend getting
Thank you,
that
guys.
championship. We will be right back. Ryan Blaney, the defending champ, is coming up next, and the most recent winner. We'll catch up with him. Thanks. If you are looking for a driver to show up and show out in a clutch situation, well, Ryan Blaney is your guy. For the second year in a row, a win at Martinsville would punch Blaney's ticket to the championship four. And for the second year in a row, he got it done. And he is here with us now on NASCAR Inside the Playoffs. I loved when you climbed out of that race car and just like you could see how exhausted you were. And you even said it. Was that just because of the race, or do you think that that was a combination of what had transpired over the last week or so?
Both.
Yeah.
For sure. You know, but I do feel like the races at Martinsville nowadays with this car are wear you out. I mean, you're shifting 4 times a lap. Their corner speeds are pretty high, and I mean, when you have long runs like that to the end, you're slipping and sliding. You're working really hard in there to kind of navigate through traffic or just make lap time. So yeah, it was a tough one, but. It's also at the same time those tough ones, when they pay off for you, right? They're even that more special.
Last year, the mantra for you was what you and your dad, you and Dave talked about the path becoming more and more clear. This year, has that helped? Has that been, because you had that path last year, has it helped you with it this year because you already saw it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, Dad's whole thing last year was awesome, right? And I think as a son, right, to have a dad have that much confidence in something that he did for a long time, and him kind of as an outside looking into this group, he just totally believed that we had a team that could do it, and he never strayed from it. Like he would every week, like Pat's still there, and we were able to get it done. And then this year I asked him, it was like the week of Atlanta, and I didn't get like the speech from him. I was like, do you not believe anymore? Have you lost faith? What are we doing? He's like, well, I just didn't want to say anything because you're still on the same path and the same road. Like you're still in that zone, and this team is still in that zone. And he sent me something really neat Sunday night after Miami, after I lost the race and gave it away. And, and it pretty much summed up with, the path is still very much there. It's just a little bit muddy. But they make cleats for that type of stuff.
Yeah, hey, there's a speech right there.
I like that. I like that.
Dave Blaney, of course, Ryan's dad, is a big part of his career, kind of following in the footsteps. But let's take a look at your season, because it's not obviously just Martinsville, what you've been able to do all season long. 3 wins, 11. See, that's you without the beard. That's the same guy, ladies and gentlemen. It is the same person. Average finish about 15.6, but of course the clutch win came at the clutch time after what you just said, quote unquote, giving it away in Miami. I'm sure that was a hard week, right?
It was. Sunday night was hard. Post-race, plane ride home, Sunday night was difficult. Monday morning, I woke up and everyone on the team woke up and was ready to go for Martinsville. Like the only time I ever thought about Miami was when I would get asked about it by outside people or whatever. Yeah,
thanks a lot, Shane.
You guys. So we did a great job of just, okay, that happened. Like, it's in the past. Me as a driver, it's like, all right, well, what should I have done different? And I stewed over that all night Sunday night, running through all these scenarios and, Monday quarterbacking the thing or whatever you want to call it. And I've just tried to learn, like, don't dwell on that stuff of woulda, shoulda, coulda. It's figure out, here's what I probably should have done. These are the mistakes that I made. And let's not make those mistakes again. Let's try our best to not make those mistakes again in that moment if you're in that situation in the future. And all right, what's the next job? So it really wasn't a hugely difficult week because we understood what we needed to do. It was the same thing we needed to do at Miami was win. And we put our best foot forward and was able to show up with Martinsville with something we could win with and then pull it off.
Well, let me focus on the positive.
Let's do it.
No offense, but reigning champ. Right, so you pulled it off last year. Your numbers this year are eerily similar, to be quite honest. I think you had great speed really since May or June. I thought the 12 team's been on fire. But what has it felt like? Not only defending the champ, now you have the chance to go back-to-back. It hasn't ever been done in this format. It's been all the way back to Jimmy Johnson since everyone's done it. Everyone says it's the greatest feat in sports. Now you have the opportunity.
Yeah, I feel like our 12 team is a ton stronger than where we were last year, all year. And you look at you brought up the average finishes and stuff, and, I look back at, I woulda, shoulda, coulda type thing of what I just said I don't like to think about, but we've had tons of races this year where either we've given away the win, have been running great and gotten wrecked, have had so many DNFs through the year, and that's kind of overshadowed of actually how good this team is. Like, this team is really, really good, and just because we haven't had the average finish and we've had things that aren't in our control happen to us, people have kind of looked past that, of like, well, this team kind of came out of nowhere, where I don't really think that's the case. I will say last year we did kind of come out of nowhere when the playoffs started. We got really good at the right time. This year we've had an amazing 35 weeks. There's very few where we've showed up at the racetrack and left Sunday being like, well, we didn't really have good stuff. We struggled all weekend. It's been very, very few. So I do love where this team is at. Just how they think nowadays is really special, and just they understand the end goal in mind and how to get there. And it's just nice to have another chance at it. I mean, that's all you can ask for is a shot at winning another championship, and we're fortunate to have that chance and do something special with, like you said, winning back-to-back, bringing Team Penske and Roger a third in a row.
Crazy.
That's amazing. We have 2 chances between Joey and I to do that for him. It'd be Ford's first time three-peating in the Cup Series, so we have something there to try to achieve. So there's a lot of milestones that we can reach this weekend. So hopefully we can bring that intensity that we did to Martinsville to Phoenix.
You're talking about back-to-back. So I feel like you got the first one out of the way. You win 2. You're talking about legacy, talking about walking Hall of Fame stuff. You're getting up in the upper echelon of drivers of all time. What would winning 2 of these championships mean to you?
I think you said it really well. Like, the first one is, right, you strive for that your whole life. Like, you just want a shot at winning one of them, and you can pull it off, right? Oh my gosh, amazing feat. So proud of everybody. And this is what I dreamed of ever since I was a kid. It's what I watched guys that I grew up admiring do, Jimmy and Jeff and all these guys that I really loved watching. Saw those, Tony Stewart, seeing these guys win championships and who I wanted to kind of be like. And you see those guys have multiple, and you're like, okay, well, that's the next step. Now I've kind of opened the door in these guys that I wanted to be like, and now I need to push it open a little bit more and get another one because all these guys have won multiples. Right. So, and I talked about it before in the playoff media day before Atlanta. This team is even hungrier, and I am hungrier to win a second, more hungry to win a second than I was my first, if that makes sense. Because you know what it feels like to win one now. Yeah. You know that elation and that joy that you get and the special moments that you share with your group. And now how do you get a taste of that again? I called it tasting the forbidden fruit. Right? And it's like you want it again. How do you get that feeling back? And we have a chance to have that feeling again. So I feel like that makes us even hungrier, more dedicated than we even were, last year to get the first one.
I'm going to make a hard left turn here, okay? You provided one of the best sound bites this entire
this
show because it was at your expense, my friend. Do you remember? Let's.
Oh yeah, I got a bone to pick with you.
Let's listen
I
to
have
it
questions.
First. Let's listen
I have
to
questions.
It.
Hang on.
I lived with Mamba for a couple years. He was my roommate. That was a fun 2 years. He wasn't a very clean roommate back then, but I think he's gotten a lot better.
What was it not clean?
Whoa. They cut that up.
It did not look cut up. That was a straight sound bite. Right.
I said one sentence and then it cuts, and then I say one more sentence, and then it's over.
So what did you say?
I had like a 5-minute answer, and that was 10 seconds of my answer. See, you can't trust nobody on TV. All y'all in here.
I will say the first time we played that, it was only the part where you said I was a dirty roommate. So I just need you, as a reigning champion, to look down that camera right there and let all of these single women know that I'm not a dirty
Yeah.
Down this camera?
Yeah, right there.
One,
Yeah,
camera
camera one over there.
Camera two.
Yeah.
Ladies, if you're watching NASCAR Inside the Playoffs right now, and you see this gentleman sitting to my right, handsome fellow right now, well put together, that's his whole lifestyle. That's his vibe and his aura. So give him a chance. Call Mamba up on the phone. You see him on a dating app? Click that like button.
Swipe right.
My man's back. He's back.
We're back, baby.
Oh, the DMs are going to be exploding tonight for Mamba. We got Joey Logano. I don't know how we top that one. Let's just go home. No, we'll be back. In case you didn't already know, Joey Logano has some cute kids. That is so cute. Love that picture right there. The even years have been very good for Joey Logano. You got 2018 championship, 2022 championship, 2024 to be determined. He has made the championship for every even year of the current playoff format. Of course, you see there, two-time champion, all those wins and 11 playoff appearances. And he is joining us now on NASCAR Inside the Playoffs. Hello, Joseph. How are you doing?
I'm doing great after
like
those
those?
stats. I make me feel a lot better.
That's a hype, right? That's a hype.
Yeah, that was good.
I've got some more to throw your way. So just over 3,000, or just under, I almost got that wrong. Just under 3,000 drivers have started in a Cup Series race. Only 5 have won 3 championships, and only 9 have won more than 2. What do you think about that? You're about to be, well, could be in some rare company.
I mean, that would be fantastic.
Did you know those numbers? Had anyone throw those? You've done a lot of media.
Today they has, but I didn't know this until today. And I can't say I really looked in it because no matter how many championships you have, it's not enough, right? Like the goal is always to have another one, get another one. But I think even more so than just putting yourself on a list, it's more like the team, right? Like you think about Roger Penske and Team Penske. What a championship means, right? I'd have 0 championships if it wasn't for Roger Penske. There was a moment that I wasn't sure I'm going to drive a race car again. So delivering wins for Roger means a lot to me. But also, there's a lot of people on the team that work at the race shop that I care a lot about. And those championships, they pay a lot of money. You know, like, it's good for everybody. And being able to help deliver that and affect people's lives, I think that is the biggest motivator. That means the most when you win these championships. But it is also, I mean, selfishly, you do look at that and you think, man, that would be pretty cool at the end of the day to stack up against, Cale Yarborough's in that, Tony Stewart, Darrell Waltrip, like the greats, right? Like to even have your name even talked about in that category would be awesome, unbelievable. But it's not really the true motivator behind everything.
There's 2 Joey Loganos. There's the nice guy that's sitting right here to my left, and then there's that dog when he puts on that helmet. And bro, when you put your helmet on and you turn into that different guy, it's amazing to watch. How important has it been to get those wins out early, to be advanced into the next round early, and then be able to set up right now for Phoenix for the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, there's a true advantage there in so many different ways. But to be able to start thinking ahead and a couple weeks before everyone, right? When we were in Vegas in Victory Lane, I was like, okay, well, now we know what we got to do. Like, the next 2 weeks don't matter at all. Like, we need to take this advantage that we earned and actually make something of it, which means we have to go to work on one race car, on one thought process, on how do we get our Phoenix car as fast as we can? How do we get our practice plan ready to go? How do we want to handle qualifying? How do we want to, what's the different options we can play the race out at? There's a lot of different things, and even goofy things that people don't think about, like logistics, right? A lot of people want to go to the race all of a sudden. Everyone, your phone starts ringing, hey, I want to come to Phoenix. I want to come here. Right? So you can get, okay, I can get a suite now. I know, like, okay, everyone has a place to go. How am I going to get my family out there? Like, I thought about all this stuff already because now this week is so busy and it's short. You think about it, it's Tuesday as we're talking right now. The cars are being loaded up right now. So you had, if you just got locked in and you weren't thinking about Phoenix before, you had yesterday and you had half of today.
I mean, today, and you're busy doing all this media today,
exactly.
so it's not like you have time.
Were up there till lunchtime today, and then you had to be here. So you don't have a lot of time to prep and think about those things. So the 2-week advantage really adds up to be something.
Well, you talked about the size of the team, the organization, all the men and women that mean so much to win the championship for. Most of those, or all of those, now have 2 shots at the championship with you and Ryan Blaney. What is it going to be like going to race a teammate, right? I mean, he's your teammate. He's the defending champ. He hasn't had the couple weeks head start you have, but now 2 teams, 2 Fords, both out of Team Penske heading to Phoenix. How does that change the dynamic?
It doesn't change it a whole bunch because we work together. I mean, that's why we're here. That's how we got here. So it doesn't really change much, right? We want to be able to deliver for Team Penske, for Roger, like I said. So it doesn't really change a whole bunch. Now, I mean, obviously, we both want to be the one that pulls it into victory lane. Like, I mean, let's be honest. There is always
nobody wants to get beat by like their brother.
No,
right? Like, you want to be like, I want to be the best in the family.
Yeah, but one of our cars needs to win.
Yeah,
right. I mean, that's the bottom line. And you hope it to be you, obviously. But if we can't win, that's the car you want to win. So hopefully we can, together make all that happen. We are stronger together. We've proven that over the years. So you can't break that now because there's more on the line. You can't come off of what made you successful.
Ryan was in here and he said that first one, you want it so bad, but the second one, you want it even worse. And now you've gone through that process. The third one, what's the emotion attached to number 3?
I think they're all the same, to be honest with you. There's no moment that you can compare to than winning a championship in sports. And that's why I like watching championship games in other sports. It's just because you see that raw emotion, and there's only a select few amount of people in the world that can relate and know what that's like, right? Like, getting married is awesome. Having kids was awesome. But it's in a different category, right? It's equally awesome, but it's so different. And you know it's coming, right? You can prepare for having a kid. It's not a surprise, right? Like, maybe it is at some point, but not at the end, at least. Get married,
everybody gets married. Everybody.
That's like it's coming. You prepare for it, and you know the day's coming. Like, we're preparing for Phoenix, but we don't know we're going to win, and you don't know it until you cross the line. And that lifetime dream, since you were a little kid, right, is never to be a NASCAR driver, is to be a NASCAR champion. And so when you achieve that, and you cross the line, those emotions, I mean, they hit you hard. Like, it's just the most unbelievably coolest thing that you get out of the car and everybody's there, right? Your team, your friends, your family, your fans, like, everybody is there. And for that 15 minutes when you first get out of the car, it's what you do it for. Like, that is the moment that you work for.
Have you given yourself time? Because, I mean, you're still really young. You still got a long runway left, a long career left.
How many people have said that to me?
Well, listen, the first time I interviewed him, he had just turned 16. So, I think about, now where he is still young.
He's got a lot of time left.
My goodness.
So have you given yourself time to look back on it a little bit and be here and be like, man, we got 2 championships, a lot of race wins. What's my legacy starting to look like? Because you're starting to get, to Steve's point, up in this rare air when it comes to motorsports.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. And there's times that you walk around, like, I put my trophies in one little area, and you look in there, and you're like, that's pretty BA. It's so bad. Right? It helps me on the hard days. You know what I mean? Like, you go through a slump sometimes.
Take the garbage out now.
That's what the trophies are there for. The trophies are there to say, you know how to do this, right? On the hard times, and so there's times that you look at that, or the highlight, right, when we were coming on, from the commercial break, like, being able to see that and say, you know what, yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, it kind of puts you in some pretty cool areas, but it doesn't really change anything. Like, it doesn't change you as a person, or at least it shouldn't, right? It's cool that we've been able to accomplish a lot in the sport, but to the point I said earlier, it's never going to be enough.
Yeah.
Especially while you're doing it.
So when I look at your numbers, as impressive as they are, one thing that jumps out to me is in every sport, much like you, I love championship sports. I love watching. There are great players, then there are great players in the postseason. and the number of your wins, 14 of your wins have come in the playoffs, a huge percentage, a bigger percentage than really any other driver. Do you know why? Is it just do you think you lean into the moment? Is there some sort of signature? Like, what about the postseason brings out the best?
I think we just love it, right? I mean, I think you learn to love pressure, right? And you're going to get put in tough situations throughout your life, right? And you get better in each one of them. Every time you go through a hard situation, you become better the next time you're in that same scenario. And for us, you know, and I think even as a kid growing up, I was always in high pressure moments as a race car driver. I was always pushed ahead before I was actually ready, right? Like there was always those moments where like it's do or die. I'm either going to make it or I'm not. And I think that just trains you to become tough in these scenarios. And so as a driver, I think I look at the playoffs and I think this is, you know, back up against the wall, let's go. I think as a team, it trickles through everybody. And this team has been around for a long time. Paul Wolf, everybody on the team, we've been here. We've done that. Like that is our strength, right? I told you earlier, we're going to old man them to death.
I like that.
That's what we're going to do.
I wasn't going to break it out on here. That was his motto. They're going to old man them to death, and I love that quote. I love that.
That's our strength. That's what we have going for us. Is that we know how to prep. We know how to handle the pressure and the scenarios, everything that's going to happen. We've done it enough times.
I said the big 3 in May from 2018, and now he's going for 3. Let's see the handshake before we go. You guys got it?
What do we have now?
Yeah,
we got that one.
Joey, good luck. We'll be right back. We do this. It's like Tony, what's his name? The kid from Play with the Giants.
No, you're
DeVito. Welcome back to NASCAR Inside the Playoffs. If you wanted drama in Martinsville, well, we got it. It was exciting for us, right? Sitting on the couch. Maybe just a little bit too much for some of the drivers involved. One of those was William Byron. Welcome to the show. Hey, so we are going to talk about that. It's going to get serious here in a second. Give me your handshake just to loosen things up a little bit. Don't you guys have a handshake?
No, we don't have. We don't have.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
All week.
Yeah, no, it's very.
I thought you
very
had
stoic.
one with everyone.
That's it?
He comes across and it's very
I'm
professional.
serious, man.
He's locked in. The fact that he says hi to me when he walks across the stage is about enough for me.
Wow. All right. Well, you said you had a special handshake with each and every driver, so you lied.
You said that.
You lied. Okay. I know you were very stoked when you also climbed out of the car at Martinsville, and I want to talk about that because I thought it was a really interesting emotion or response when they asked you about getting in, and you were just kind of like, I don't really feel good about anything.
Yeah.
What were you feeling and thinking in that moment?
Well, I think it's just thinking about the fact that it's at the expense of the 20, and I have a lot of respect for those guys, and Christopher and I we get along the best of any of the final drivers left. So it was it just was kind of, I didn't want to feel good about it, but I felt relieved and excited for Phoenix for sure.
It was hard. I mean, this was a moment for sure when Christopher came over, but I can only imagine sort of that time span waiting to find out what your fate was.
It was excruciating. It was
and you got
way
Jeff
too
Gordon
long.
standing there, watching.
Yeah, and Jeff's like, and I gotta say something about Jeff. Jeff's like, well, you had a great year, and I'm like, Jeff, it's not over.
Are you serious?
Well, that's
I was like, come on, Jeff.
About
your boy? That's your boy.
I know, man. He was a great race car driver, for sure. I mean, he's not giving the MJ speeches, for sure. Let's talk about let's look at your numbers, because when I look at the championship 4, I struggle to kind of measure where you're going to be in Phoenix, right? You had a great start to the year, 3 wins, right? You came out on fire. Those 3 wins came in the first 8 races, top 12, top 5s, top 10s, a great average finish. Now the playoffs has been full of great runs.
Yeah.
But not the top of the podium yet with the win. So you handicap it for us then. What should we expect in Phoenix? What are we looking for?
Yeah, I mean, I think we haven't won yet. And so that's where I look at it, is we've been right there. We've been on the cusp. And honestly, Martinsville, we brought some of the best performance we've had. And I can't wait to bring that to Phoenix and just a little bit more. So I feel like we're really close.
I know you guys are at the peak of excellence. You guys expect to perform at the top all the time as a whole company at Hendrick. And you got that nice new 40th anniversary logo on your chest. So I want to know, you had all 4 cars were in the playoffs, and you're the only one going to the championship round. Is it pressure or is it a privilege to be in that situation for your company?
Yeah, it's a privilege because we have everyone touching our car this week. It's incredible. Like, you have guys from the 5, the 9, 48, and all throughout the shop touching our car. So it's been an awesome week to see all that teamwork.
So I feel like I got to be nice to Jeff after I just picked on his pep talks, because the one area that Jeff Gordon is amazing is performing in those moments, right? Multi-time champ. So what is your approach, right? Like, I don't mean driving and racing and with your team and your crew chief. I got all that. But do you lean on, Jeff Gordon's been there, done it, multi-time champ. Do you lean on that experience when it comes to the big moments?
Yeah, I mean, we talk every week. Jeff and I are really close. And so I feel like it's more of our experience last year and what it took to win the championship last year. We qualified on the pole. That was great. We had a good couple stages, but we didn't have the final run we wanted to have. And so that's what it's all about this year, is that final stage and that final run and getting to that.
You talked about that, learning. What did you learn last year in the run that you were able to apply this year to get back to this point? Because doing it once, but doing it twice is twice as hard, I feel like.
Yeah, it is really hard to get back to this point, as we've seen with the playoffs. I mean, it's unpredictable, and you have to perform at these tracks. And for us, last year, I feel like we were emotionally spent, and we just were happy to get to Phoenix. We had such a great year. This year, we've got plenty of energy left, and I feel like it's all going into this week, which is great.
Can you, I was just wondering how many kids still come up to you? Because if you don't know William Byron's story, started as an iRacer and then get an opportunity at Hendrick Motorsports or through other ranks moving up. Wins the Daytona 500 this season for Hendrick Motorsports. So when you kind of look at where the year's been and everything that's gone on, how do you kind of wrap your head around where you are right now?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's been kind of a tumultuous year. I feel like we've gone through ups and downs. Even when we were winning the beginning of the year, we knew we needed to improve. And I just feel like we've gotten to that point at the end of the year, and we've just started to kind of peak. So I think there's more to go get, but it's been a great year.
You won the Daytona 500. You also won at Martinsville in the 40th anniversary red Ruby cars. Okay, that's tough. Which one has more weight? Daytona 500 or the 40th anniversary?
That's why Jeff Gordon is hanging out in his pit box, He's like the golden child.
Championship.
Oh,
do all three.
I like it.
I
like that.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a year. Championship, Daytona 500, and the 40th anniversary win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, to deliver that to Rick Hendrick for sure. Where do you keep your Daytona 500 championship trophy?
It's actually in my entryway at my house.
It is?
So it is.
You dang right. That's what I like to hear.
Exactly.
I see so many race car drivers like, I have it in my man cave. I have it in this. Nope,
My wife won't let me have it anywhere.
Front and center.
Yeah. So,
I love that.
So anyone who drops off DoorDash, I guess that's what they see. So
what is that?
Yeah.
Does it still have the confetti and everything all over it?
It does.
It
has some.
yeah.
It has some from. It has some scratches on it, so I don't know.
Buff that thing up.
All right, so look, you're too relaxed. Bring the viewers in here. Are you always this relaxed? Are you better than you were last year? Will you be nervous when you get in the car? Nervous on the grid Sunday, or is this just the race car driver version?
I'm not nervous at all. I mean, I know I was last year. This year, I don't feel nervous. I'm excited. I'm just ready to go.
Like it. I can feel the energy. I'm fine. I wasn't ready to go, but I think I am now. I'm ready to go west.
I said this earlier today. Not only are the 4 drivers that are in the championship for just the elite of the elite, the best drivers out there, but if my kid came up to me and said, who should I root for? Which should my favorite driver be? You could name any one of the 4 because you guys are just such great representations of the sport.
Sure.
That's my sugary sweet for the day.
That's the nicest you've been to anybody else.
I know. Well, I like Willie B. We'll be back to wrap things up and make our championships picks coming up on Inside the Playoffs. No. Ding, 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 ding. You got it. That's good.
Oh, don't make them worse.
First of all, this game was rigged.
Oh, wait.
Oh, it's gone.
Big guy in a little coat.
Can I go on a rant? I mean, nobody wants a mime on a talk show.
I would want Gene Simmons' tongue. If I was going to have a lightning McQueen. Big tongue. And I'm like, I would take Gene Simmons' tongue in a heartbeat over that.
Oh, that's what you've been thinking about, huh?
I'm fogging up.
So when I do think through things, whether it's slow
when I do.
How cool is NASCAR from my couch?
That's why some of us have switched to TV. Man, you feel way better. There's no nerves in TV.
We're not even a minute in. I just...
You're just shaking your head.
With Martin Truex Jr. His luck is so bad.
Cliff Daniels has got the little magic fairy dust.
The best pit crew on pit road.
So let the yellow come.
Yeah, so like when
yellow come.
These glasses have a little bit of wisdom in them, right? It's not just for looks, America.
Why are you petting them?
They're so soft. They're nice.
You got to see the salt.
A little salt.
Do we get our own handshake?
This is
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
You want to learn the backflip?
Carl will be here as well.
Oh, that felt good.
Woo! My gosh, it's been such a good 10-week run with you guys. It's been fun.
I'm just wondering how that hat didn't lead right into the start of this segment.
Well, listen, Mamba looks so good he had to take out the hat. And we've got with the endorsement from Ryan Blaney. I mean,
that's is that what happened? Ryan endorsed your online dating profile, so you thought we had to add the swag?
Hat? I mean, it does online dating, real live dating, whatever. I'm here for it. Thank you very much, YRB.
Wait till Jordan Bianchi gets a load of those shoes.
Oh, he's
right
gonna be mad.
I'm gonna tell you.
Listen, they told Jordan that he had to wear socks with his loafers. Nah, Jordan.
I came in today and I was like, is Jordan on the show today? Because they were sitting in there.
Nah, he wishes.
You're looking good there, Mamba. Who's looking good to you this weekend?
We have. That's a real
Let's do our picks, yeah.
Oh, it's YRB.
Young Ryan Blaney.
Yeah,
Let's do
Ryan
it.
Freaking Blaney.
Let's do it.
Back-to-back champion.
Let's do it.
It's gonna happen.
All right. Well, who you got, Steve Letarte?
So I think all four could do it. I'm a guy that's
geez.
no. Listen, I'm
Sounds
a guy
like
that
Jeff Burton
I'm
over
gonna
here.
go with numbers. Maybe it's sentimental, but I'd love to see a guy win his third. I'm going Joe Logano. Everybody always counts him out, and he finds a way to get it done.
Yeah, I'm going Ryan Blaney as well. Listen, I think that the momentum's on his side. It'd be very cool. Him sitting here, he endorsed you. Ladies, what else we got? Is that it? Oh, that's it. Well, we're done. We're done. We're done with Inside the Playoffs. So we got a little confetti to celebrate. All right, hold on.
Go ahead. Show us how it's done.
Which way is it? Up, up.
Oh, look at that.
Loud.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That is it. That is
One shining moment. Good night, everybody.
Woo!